couple of days ago, it was reported that the Chicago Bulls were ready to talk contract extension with Josh Giddey. Well, today we now have rumors of what Josh Giddey's contract demands would be per year. We'll talk about all that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today. And so, reportedly, this is according to Jake L. Fisher, that Josh Giddey is looking for a contract extension that would be around a value of $30 million per year annual average value. So that's not too surprising when it comes down to Josh Giddey. When you look at it, reportedly in the same report from Jake L. Fisher says this. Emmanuel Quickley's 5-year, $175 million deal with Toronto this past summer has set a benchmark for young guards around the NBA. Josh Giddey is said to be seeking at least $30 million AAV in his next deal, sources said. Although the Bulls appear more keen on evaluating Giddey through his first season in Chicago before committing that type of money to the Australian playmaker. Now, with that said, this is something that I did say. When we heard about the Josh Giddey contract extension, it's the same thing that we heard when it came down to Nikola Vucevic, that the Bulls were interested in extending him. They wanted to sit down and talk. But the Bulls ended up not reaching a contract extension with Nikola Vucevic until after the end of the season, but prior to him hitting the open market as a free agent. The same things basically happened with Patrick Williams, Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu. This front office has typically really handled their contract extension talks all universally the same for the most part, right? Not to say that things haven't been a little bit different, like with Zach LaVine, but typically they've handled it all the same way, right? I even think Zach LaVine, that contract extension came as well before he officially hit the open market. I don't think he ever took another meeting with the team. So this is kind of the way that this Bulls front office operates. I'm not surprised at all to hear that the Bulls really want to evaluate him throughout the season before really trying to commit to that type of money. Now, I do think that the Bulls and Josh Giddey's team are either going to meet or have met. And the reason why I say that is because you still want to sit down and get a meeting going so you can kind of understand what the players' expectations are prior to the season, right? So I still have no doubts that the Bulls have sat down with Josh Giddey and his representation to kind of have the talks on the framework of a deal, right? To see what exactly are they asking for so they can go to the table with the Bulls where their mind is right now and just have that feeling for where Josh Giddey and his representation wants. And then they're going to go throughout the season, let the season really kind of dictate. And listen, if Josh Giddey has a big year, it's not too surprising. Brandon L. Jet says 30 million years he on crack. Honestly, bro, at the end of the day, $30 million is not that odd anymore. Like, keep in mind, Patrick Williams is getting $18 million per year, right? And Patrick Williams has shown considerably less than what Josh Giddey has over Josh Giddey's career. Now, it hasn't been perfect for Josh Giddey, but I can understand why a 22-year-old who just turned 22 a couple of days ago, who's already been top, 10 to 8 in the NBA in triple-double since he came to this team. It comes down to it. I'm not surprised. The $30 million number doesn't surprise me at all. It just doesn't surprise me at all. I like I said, even in what they said in the article, looking at what Emmanuel Quickley got, doesn't surprise me at all either. Now, the $30 million, if you put that on average over a full 5-year contract extension, that would make it about $105 million, $150 million. Let me carry the one. With that said, so, now is it going to be for the full 5 years, right? Because the Bulls may be, especially with not getting to see a whole lot of Josh Giddey, maybe it's a 3-year deal. Maybe it's a 3+1. The Bulls love giving their player options. So that's a possibility as well. And when you look at the Bulls' future cap outlook as well, the Bulls can set themselves up to be players in the free agent market at the end of the 2025-26 season. They just could. And that's even with if they retain Kobe White and Ayo Dosunmu as well, who will be free agents at the end of that season. The Bulls have that type of flexibility coming to where they could realistically hope to put together a team that's young, a core that's young, that you lock in with that core, and maybe make a run at like they did with the DeMar DeRozan. Now, I'm not saying that's the route that I hope they go. I hope that the Bulls actually go through the route of developing over time, but the Bulls could be looking at the situation and just figuring we got some flexibility coming up here. Yes, we got decisions that we need to make on Kobe and on Io. Then Dalen Terry's the year after that as well, I think. So you have those decisions that you got to make, but ultimately, most of the Bulls' core is locked in. And so if you're able to move Zach LaVine before then, you can get even more kind of savings when it comes down to that. And that's if the Bulls still are looking. I'm not saying that they are, but if they are still looking to move on from Zach at that point in time. So there's still some flexibility. Years, we don't know. So they don't know about the years. We have no idea on the years. This is just kind of speculative on what the type of money he wants to average per season, right? It's not about the money. It's about the message. If he gets that type of money, what is the message they're giving Kobe, Io, and P. Will? Those three grew up the Bulls system and worked hard to get extensions. Yeah, but unfortunately, I mean, Kobe and Io are smart enough. Unfortunately, Io and Kobe were both coming off down seasons when they signed their deal. And not to say that Josh Giddey isn't, but when you go to a new team with new expectations, things change. I get what you're getting at, Jet, for sure. Like that's a legitimate question, but I think ultimately the decision making comes with who holds the power, right? And with Io and Kobe both being restricted free agents coming off very down seasons statistically, it's a very different negotiation. Gid was benched because of his alpha play, no shot still, terrible defense still, and that shouldn't fetch 30. Yeah, but he was also benched because of the specific role of that team. It wasn't just because, let's be clear, the series before that series against Dallas, the team, I think it was the Clippers, employed the same exact type of defense, and Giddey actually hit his threes, right? And then you also have to look at, they just phased Giddey out. Giddey's a playmaker. And unfortunately, Shea and Lou Williams, Jalen Williams on that team, Josh Giddey got those guys open shots. They hit the open shots at 32 and 35% respectively. So also, it didn't fit in with what that team was doing. His strengths didn't really play into what that team needed. Trade that fool. They're not going to trade him, and he's not a fool. That's just stupid. Haize, let's say you were paying me to promote your channel. I've been here since day one. Then you hire someone else who's new to pay them more than me. I feel some type of way. Yeah, but that's completely different when it comes to sports. It's not just that you've been here. You were here and you played bad. Like, let's just be clear. Io would have had all the negotiating power had he came out that second season and played well. It's a completely different situation. So it's not the same as you and me, because these teams understand agents and they understand the angles and they understand you having a leg up. Just to highlight that, let's say I hired you on day one, Brandon L. Jet, when this channel had 20 subscribers and I hired you to promote the channel. It's a lot different to get a channel from 200 to 1,000. I mean, from 20 to 1,000. But let's say now I'm at 20,000 and I need to hire somebody that gets us from 20K to 100K. Yeah, somebody who's now going to come in and say, I've built Linus Tech Tips. I've built whatever else. I helped build fucking ESPN's YouTube channel. Yeah, they're going to demand a little bit more money because the level of where we're at now is a little bit different. I get what you're getting at. I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying, in a perfect world, I don't disagree with you. But we all know with basketball, it doesn't come down to that. Like, for example, Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown's getting $22 million this year. And the reason why he got that is because he was coming off, the Indiana Pacers had to overpay him because the perception of how he's coming over to a new team on top of leaving a championship team. Is Bruce Brown worth $20 million? Fuck no. He wasn't worth the $20 million when he got done coming off the bench for the Denver Nuggets. But you know what his agent had? The power of negotiation, because he did come from a championship team where he's a key contributor. So it's a different, the level. And again, Josh Giddey doesn't have that. But to come to a new team, you just traded for me. You gave up your best asset. That gives you a little bit of power in the negotiations. It just does. Now, Josh Giddey and his agency better hope that Josh Giddey balls out, because if Josh Giddey has a terrible season this year, you ain't fucking getting $30 million, my boy. And that's where the Bulls play the risk versus the reward, right? Because if Josh Giddey comes into this season and plays like shit, when Josh Giddey and his agency at the end of the season be like, yeah, so we wanted $30 million per year. AK, if he's smart, is going to look at him and say, you want what? How much did you say you wanted? All right, bet. Go out and sign. We can match it. Go sign an offer sheet somewhere else. See if you get that. But we got this hot 22 for you. We got 22 for you. We can put some incentives in there. You lead the league in assists, cool. We give you a couple of more. You want 30 after that season? No. But where the Bulls play the risk part of it is, let's say Josh Giddey does come here and he has a tremendous season. Let's say the chemistry between him and Kobe works out. The chemistry between him and everybody just works out. And Josh Giddey gets back to 17, 8, and 6. Oh, that $30 million is definitely what the Bulls are paying. So they're playing the risk versus the reward in this. It's just negotiation. If the person you hired was a better promoter than you, that would make sense. Kobe and Io were paid to be role players at the current time. Giddey would be paid to be a starter. That's a great perspective on that. I don't know how I feel about it. It could be a good deal, but I guess we'll have to wait and see how he plays into the season. Yeah, listen, that's what he's seeking. That doesn't mean that's what he's going to get, right? Let's be clear there, right? Because we heard that Patrick Williams was seeking $20 million a year. He didn't get that, right? So just because he's seeking $30 million does not mean that he's going to necessarily get the $30 million, especially if he has a down year, right? So he coming over here demanding to get out of here. I'll give him IO that. What? No, he's not demanding to get out of it. Where did you get that from? And anything that was just said or reported, where did you get that he's demanding to get out of here? What if Peter Patton fixes Giddey's shot? He could be. Listen, I've said this many times before. If Josh Giddey turns into either a solid defender or he doesn't even have to turn into a solid defender or a solid 3-point shooter. Yeah, you're looking at a perennial all-star. If he does both of those, oh, absolutely. If he does one of them, he's damn near a perennial all-star. If Giddey plays well this year, he would be worth the $30 million. Agree with that. I knew Giddey agents thought it was sweet. Great trade bait. $30 million is not what it used to be. Like I said, $30 million is not like we're about to get to a place where almost $19-20 million is going to be a mid-level exception in a few years. Did you see Giddey turning into J Kidd one day? I don't listen. It's a possibility. And that's a great combination because Jason Kidd, if I'm not mistaken, I don't have the numbers in front of me, didn't turn into a solid 3-point shooter until his 9th year in the league. And then he was a solid 3-point shooter the rest of the time. Let me pull it up real quick. Let's see. I just want to take a look because I know it was late into Kidd's career where he really turned into a good 3-point shooter. So yeah, it wasn't until 2007-8 where he started shooting the ball above 40%. And he did it 3 years in a row. And then he was still a good volume 3-point shooter, but it was still mid-30s after that. So, yeah, I mean, Jason Kidd, you look at Jason Kidd where he started, 27%, 33%, 32%. Then he had 1 year of 40% taking 3 per game. Then he dropped back down to 31%. So, you never know. You never know. There's 5 Haize. No, there's just one. I just worked that goddamn hard. Reading in between the lines. No, I don't really think that that's accurate there, brother. Not in this case. Giddey also has Peter to work on his shot and Lonzo to mentor him how to improve his defensive IQ with them being similar style players. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Kobe's probably going to get 35 while Al gets 30 million per year. They'll be worth every. Oh, facts. I own Kobe because they're and look out for this too, because the Bulls can extend them next offseason because they're 1 year left on their deal. If Kobe and Io have great seasons again this year, do not be surprised if the Bulls, we may see an offseason where they extend Giddey, Kobe, and Io just to get them all locked in. And that doesn't mean they necessarily plan on keeping all of them, but you got them locked into deals and you can move them going forward. So if that's what he's asking for, he needs to come back to earth. He's not that that level of player. Again, sub role players are getting paid almost that much. Buddy Hield got close to that much. I gotta disagree with it. Bulls have a history of giving into bad contracts. Hope they learn from. No, they don't have a history of giving into bad contracts. P. Will is not. There's no way that you can cut a P. Will as a bad contract. I'm sorry. That's a role player contract, and that's what he's given. That's not a bad contract. People look at the $90 million overall and look at what that meant historically. $90 million is about to be the mid-level exception. So, no, they did not overpay for that. And Zach, yeah, he got the max. He was going to get the max anywhere he went to. And Zach's been more because of injury than his performance. He's basically performed the exact way and actually got better in some ways from before that deal. people's expectations around him just changed. I'll take the current value out of my assessment and look at the business aspect. At the current value, AK will be taking on a bad deal, but they will still have Vooch and Zach on contracts on the books. True, but Vooch's contract is going to end at the end of next season. That's again, they have considerable cap flexibility, even if they were to extend Josh Giddey at the end of next season. So that cap flexibility there with Vooch, and if you move Zach, you gain even more. Even if you don't, you still got that cap flexibility. So that's why I give the numbers with Zach still on there. So we'll see. When will the best time to offer extension to Kobe and Io this season? Like you can't offer them during this off season or during their final year. Well, the thing is, right, and this is why I say it depends on how AK and Eversley want to play it. Because if they're coming off another hot year this year, you may very well want to go ahead and lock them in because look at it this way. If they have a third hot year after that, it could go up even further. So if you go to the negotiating table and they're willing to take, good deals, right? And you go ahead and lock them into an extension, I don't think that that's necessarily bad. So if he averages 18, 8, and 8, he would definitely be that type of player. You were commenting on bias. Yeah, exactly. But it's up to Giddey to get back to that. It's up to Giddey to get back up to being that level of player, right? The Bulls are doing a good job of creating an environment in which a superstar could come in and this team could be great. That being said, I don't know where the superstar is going to come from. Well, that's why I still think they're going to have to still focus on development. Like even when the Bulls were at their best, they had trouble recruiting free agents. So I don't know if that changes even with this young core now. You never know, right? Because things are changing around the NBA, but we'll see. I understand the $30 million per year, but how many years should the Bulls give them? I mean, that's the question, right? Like, I mean, that's the thing. If you are, to me, because it seems like the Bulls are going to wait to the end of the season, I would say give them the full 5 years. Maybe make it they love giving their player options, but a player or team option in the last year. But if he plays well, you give him the full 5. Why risk it, right? Now, if he plays so, maybe you do a 3-year. If he plays under expectations, but you still think that he has a chance with whatever changes you plan on making, getting better going forward, maybe give him a 4-year or something like that. So it really depends. It really depends. Do you think he's worth $30 million a year? I can't say right now. Like based off right now, I'd be comfortable paying him anywhere between 20 and 25. It's not my money though. Now, if Josh Giddey if he was coming off the year he had the year prior, the 17, 8 rebounds, 6 assist guy, I would have said yes. That's a $30 million contract. But he's not coming off that. So you lose some of that negotiating power. For Io and Kobe, you sit down with them early and if they play a great year, they get there long term, the Bulls save on value, win-win in my books. And I agree with that. Right. And then, like I said, you maintain flex. The thing that we're seeing a lot of teams do right now is that even because like the Cavs, they locked in their whole core, but we know that they are willing to move Jared Allen if need be, right? But what in doing that, even if you lock in Giddey, if you lock in Kobe, if you lock in Io, and you again plan on, or you think, hey, we may have to move them at some point, you get more back at that point because now the team that's getting them has some solid years of having them on the books, right? For example, I think if Alex Caruso had another year on his contract other than 1 year left, the Bulls would have got a first round pick in that deal. So Lonzo's coming off the bench. Why is that even a question? Lonzo's not starting when he's not playing back-to-backs and he's on a minutes restriction. You're not going to start a player that's on that. You're not. Not when you have a young player you just traded for at that position. And Kobe's definitely not coming off the bench. Why are you asking questions we already know, Abe? Come on now. You know this, brother. He's a player that's shown potential, but right now he's an average basketball player. I would give Lonzo that type of contract coming off his injury before him. Yeah, no, that would be stupid. I'm sorry. That's just not stupid. That's not smart at all. That would be stupid. To give Lonzo, keep in mind, Lonzo's back looking good now. But even the doctors that said this, like, we don't know how long, it's never been done before. You'd be willing to give Lonzo that money on somebody who was already, keep in mind, already injury prone before that injury. Now he's had an experience. Like, I'm sorry, that's stupid. Now, Josh Giddey is above average basketball player if you put in what he's done over his career combined. Last season was not good for him. But, yeah, to say that you give Lonzo that money coming off an injury, that would just be stupid. And that would be the Bulls repeating dumbass mistakes that they've made before. Lonzo's definitely coming off the bench. He's nowhere near ready to play starter minutes. Better yet, play full time. Just enjoy whenever he's on the court. Yeah, listen. Let Lonzo play how Lonzo's going to play. If Lonzo stays healthy, would you sign him to a 1 year? If Lonzo is willing, I don't care if he stays healthy or not. Lonzo can miss the last 25 games of the season. If you're telling me Lonzo's willing to take a 1 year, keep in mind, that's less than Javon Carter's getting paid. If Lonzo's willing to take a 1 year, $5 million deal, you better fucking sign him. There should be no thinking on that. If you go to the table with Lonzo's agent and he says, yeah, we'll take 1 year. Okay, yeah. Hey, do you want the money in cash? Hey, listen, Javonte Green can go. He knows a couple of people. He can go get the cash for you right now. We ain't even gotta send you a check. You can duffel bag it out this motherfucker. Jared Reinsdorf's gonna be walking in there with his bag like, hey, here goes the money under the table. If that type shit, like what? If he's willing to take 1 year, $5 million, come on, man. Come on, man. What are we talking about? What was the last time the Bulls had 30 million a year player? Right now on the contract, his name is Zach LaVine. His name is Zach LaVine. Just joined the show, so I don't want you guys covered, but my idea is how some Patrick Williams type money for Giddey, team option last year of the contract. I'm sorry, Giddey's worth more than Patrick Williams. He's shown more in the NBA consistently than what Patrick Williams has. He's not going to take Patrick Williams type money. Giddey seems like he's a systematic player that the Spurs would be a better fit. What? How much you think Kobe's worth, Haize? I mean, we got one season of Kobe having great volume. I'll say this. If Kobe does it again, he's a $30 million player easily. Easily. Javonte still selling CDs from the back of his trunk? Absolutely. Absolutely. He's never going to stop. It's never going to stop. But yeah, so I mean, I just wanted to bring that news, man. I thought that was an interesting thing that came out. That's the money that Josh Giddey wants, and we'll see. This is the thing, and this is where I'm at with everybody. This isn't just Josh Giddey. Go and show it on the court. If you leave it up to it, show it on the court. Haize, do you think that Bulls retire D Rose jersey? No, they're not going to retire his jersey. They're not retiring jerseys anymore. Haize said that to illustrate how ridiculous it is that Giddey's asking for $30 million, even though Lonzo's injury prone. He's proven more than Giddey. No, he hasn't. I'm sorry. Lonzo Ball's best season, which was with the Chicago Bulls, is comparable statistically, even win shares in playmaking, to Josh Giddey's worst season. He's not. We just know that the Bulls were number one, and a big part of that was because of course, Lonzo Ball. But no, that's just not true to say that Lonzo Ball showed more than Josh Giddey. He just didn't. That's just not, it's not factual. Go and look at it's surprisingly statistically when you look at it. And keep in mind, Lonzo Ball was on a lot of losing teams to start as well. So no, it's just not. It's not even comparable. Josh Giddey has led the league in triple doubles. Josh Giddey in his worst season created more open shots than what Lonzo Ball did in any of his teams. Now again, that's not all on Lonzo. He was on teams where he wasn't necessarily the primary playmaker because he had to share those duties, but that's just an incorrect statement. Objectively, that's an incorrect statement. Maybe we get Giddey for $26.5 million after negotiations. And, it could be, right? That's why I say that unless Giddey has a great season, he's not going to get that money. He's not going to get $30 million. And then again, I don't know. We'll see. Do you buy hoodies that match your hats or hats? Neither. I just buy what I like. Like, for example, I had this hat 4 years before this hoodie ever came out. But because the red, if you notice, the reds are slightly different. They're not like the usual Bulls red. But I just bought it because I like the hat, because I love the white fade part. And so I just bought it. And it is what it is. But then when this hoodie, I had to have this hoodie when I saw it because I love like the sleeve and stuff. And I was like, I think I got a hat that already matches that. So I just get what I like. And like I got tons of hats. I have nothing to match. Nothing to match. I got a purple Bulls hat that I know at some point they're gonna come out with the Dennis Rodman shirt that'll match it. I got a black and purple Bulls hat. I have nothing to wear it with. But once they do come out with something, I'm sure it's gonna be Rodman based. I'm on that motherfucker. I'm on it, right? What else? I got a couple of hats that I have nothing to wear with it as of right now. I got like this weird orange brown hat that's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna wear with it. It's suede too, but I will find something eventually. So I just buy what I like and I let the rest work itself out. comes down to Io versus Giddey, if it comes down to Io versus Giddey, and they both have a good season this upcoming year, but one of them has to be the odd man out. Ooh, that's a great question, Shay. So if it came down to it, and the Bulls said we're either only extending Io or Giddey, not both of them. To me, you extend Io. Josh Giddey's a restricted free agent. You Larry market him. You wait till another team wants him, you sign and trade him. I'm sorry. And again, that could blow up in my face. Josh Giddey could have an amazing season, but I'm sorry. Io's two-way ability, his ability to adapt to guard and play multiple positions, the fact that he's turning into not just a good, Io DeSumo is turning into a great three-point shooter. The fact that while not as good of a half-court passer or playmaker than Josh Giddey, we're moving to a more transition-based offense, and I think Io DeSumo could be perfectly fine running in a transition-based offense. If it came down to you had to pick between the two of them, and you said, we got $30 million, who's getting it, Io or Josh Giddey? Come on now. I'm picking Io DeSumo, the Nigerian nightmare, every single time. Every single time. Period. So that's just no question. There's no question on that one. Like that's not even, and that could very well blow up in my face. Io DeSumo was what 3 years older than Josh Giddey. So Josh Giddey theoretically has more of a ceiling. Again, I say the theoretical part. But yeah, no, I'm taking Io DeSumo all day. Like that's just is not even a question. I'm down to extend Giddey in general, but if I had to pick between Io or Giddey, I'll keep Io. So I think a lot of people will feel that. I think a lot of people will feel that. Io's Luol Deng 2.0. There's nothing like Luol. Well, no, I can actually see where stylistically you can compare him for Luol. I think this Io is already a better 3-point shooter than Luol Deng will ever be, or ever was. Also, with the players on this team, we really the Chicago Bulls, so many Chicago-born players. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So we'll see. We will see, man. I still remember when he was drafted. Nobody thought that much of him. Chicago fans didn't really care too much. I don't think that that's accurate. I don't think people thought that he had like this tremendous ceiling, but I think people were like, oh, it's cool. Like, it's cool we got somebody who went to Illinois and from Chicago, but I don't think people thought he turned into this. So, we'll see there. We'll see. But all right, y'all. Thank you guys for tuning in, man. Always surprised at the support we get on random midday streams. But, when news drops, we drop. That's the motto here at Chicago Bulls Central, and that's going to stay the motto as we go forward. So anytime something drops, I expect maybe THT's deal to be announced at some point today. I think. So if that happens, I'll be live. Oh, shit. Mac McClung got converted to a full NBA deal. Shout out to Mac McClung. But all right, y'all. Love you guys. Go Bulls. See Red, man. I'll see you guys the next time a story drops. Love you guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel as well, as I will be delivering the best daily Chicago Bulls content that you will find on all of YouTube and podcasting. By the way, if you guys really want to help the show grow, I don't be sitting here begging for super chats. I don't beg for donations, anything like that. But the things that you can do to organically help this show grow, of course, subscribe to the channel. And then if you have iTunes or Spotify, even though you watch the YouTube channel, pull us up on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify and leave a 5-star review, because you can't leave a review on YouTube. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. This helps other people find the show. Love you guys. Go Bulls. See Red. All that good shit. I'm sure you guys will be seeing my face again today. If not, I'll see you guys tomorrow on the mailbag. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.